Hello Josh, this is going to be your video on how to operate your lightsaber. I'm going to go over a few of the basics and things you should keep in mind just to keep this thing safe. In the description of the video there's going to be a lot of different additional information that'll be incredibly useful for customizing your Proffie lightsaber, as well as just things you should keep in mind. So I'll get into it right now. I don't have too much time, but I will try and get through as much as I can, and then I can ship this off to you a little bit later today. So this is your lightsaber. It's going to be coming in the same box that you shipped it to me in. Here you go. There was a bit of difficulty because this is the K4V2, which is a little bit different than the OWK4, just on a couple things. One thing I noticed was this seemed a little bit smaller in diameter, and then there was also a button setup inside here that I just removed in order to allow for the normal button setup of the OWK4. So yeah, this is what you need to keep in mind. Just unscrew this. I had to figure out a way to unstick this because it was super stuck when I first got it. So I managed to get it undone, and I also greased it up a little bit to allow it to slide better so it doesn't get stuck again. This is the chassis. So this is going to be your Proffie board. When you plug it into the computer with the MicroUSB in order to upload the config file, I have the config file on the SD card. If you have any questions, just let me know about all that stuff and I can see what I can do to help you. But in the description of the video is pretty much everything that I can send you to help you out with all that. But don't have the battery plugged in when you have this plugged into the computer. I've heard that people can fry their Proffie boards like that, so just be very careful. It's got the 28mm speaker, Smuggler's Outpost. It's pretty straightforward. I'll be sending you a new battery. This is an old one I keep using for demonstration purposes. Negative is going to be over here by the speaker. Positive is by the soundboard. So you put it in and then flip the switch and then it's on. So what you're going to need to keep in mind, you know what, let me go over this real quick. So inside the lightsaber, you'll see it in the TikTok videos of the build, but one of the things I had to do in order to make this fit was not only just sand this section of the chassis to make it fit into the booster here, I also had to make the little connector thing inside boosted so it's a little bit closer this way. So I 3D printed a small little part that'll allow it to extend a bit further out, which allows these pins to make contact, because before it wasn't making contact because for some reason I think this is either longer in this one than the OWK4, I don't exactly know, but I had that issue where these pins weren't connecting, so this section wasn't lighting up. So I fixed that, it's all good. All you have to do to put it in, I find the easiest way is to unscrew these two bottom parts. Sorry about that, trash people are taking the trash right now. Basically, you put it inside, make sure the buttons line up with the buttons. There you go. And then you put on the booster, screw it in. And then you put the bottom part on. But first, I would move this to make sure that the buttons are lined up properly. You can sort of feel it out here, because sometimes when you put both of these on at the same time and twist it, it turns the chassis and just makes it so you can't press the button. So just make sure it's lined up and close the bottom part. There you go. And then this is going to be your activation and this is going to be your auxiliary. So you press that, turns it on. I have it at around 60% volume roughly in order to keep the speaker safe. You can push it up to 75. I wouldn't go higher than 75, but with 75% volume it's still incredibly loud, and 60% volume is also incredibly loud, but 75 I noticed was there was a lot of crackling. Well, not a lot, just a little bit of crackling in the speaker, so the sound wasn't as clean. So this is going to be just my demonstration blade. Whatever blade you have, it may or may not fit in this because it's going to be a tight fit, but if it does fit, awesome. If it doesn't, just got to sand down however much goes inside of the emitter. And keep in mind that when you do put it in, make sure you twist it clockwise and put downward pressure instead of twisting counterclockwise, because if you twist counterclockwise, you can unscrew this section, which could potentially put a lot of strain on the wires inside the neck, which would not be good at all. So just keep in mind, clockwise pressure, pushing it in, clockwise pressure, pulling it out, and that's how you adjust the blade. And you can also use the set screws on the side in order to tighten it. I find that this is pretty snug in itself, but if you want extra security, there's a set screw on the side. I think there might even be a second one. There's one here and one here. Yeah. So pretty much activation to turn it on, you tap it to turn it off. Auxiliary is for blaster effects. Hold it in clash for the lockup. Let me do it right. There we go. You also have tip drag, so if you point it down and like thrust forward, you have tip drag. You also have melt, so if you have the auxiliary and then you stab it, let me see if I can do it on screen here. There we go. And you twist it for the different temperatures. You can also color change with pressing both at the same time. And you can just cycle through the different colors by turning the hilt. I'll just go back to blue. And then all of these controls you can find on the FET263 website, Proffie OS 5.9, I believe. And to cycle through the sound fonts, you just press the auxiliary, and then it'll go through all the different fonts I have. I don't remember exactly how many I put on here, maybe like 16 or so. You have a bunch in the SD card, and then a bunch I set up on the actual config file.
Yellow, white.
Pick your weapon.
There we go. But I have a lot. Rainbow blade, of course, because you always gotta have one of these. I also have a fire blade on here. I have a bunch of different types of blade styles and fonts and colors on here. This is the battery level indicator. If you've seen my videos before, it used to just be a beep or no sound font detected. I decided to put in a font because it sounds cool, so here you go. It's green and good up top. That means it's fully charged, and then as it goes down and changes color, that means you need to replace the battery. If you want to go backwards with the font, you just point downwards and press the auxiliary button. So just
smooth jab. I find.
Yeah, see? So normally just press this to go forward. Do this, or point downward and press auxiliary when you're done. And I think that's pretty much all you have to keep in mind with this lightsaber. There's not too much to it. It's standard Proffie stuff. You can check out all of the things in the description if you need assistance. Also, contact me if you have any questions. So just look in the description if you have questions, and also contact me if there's nothing down there. I will help you as much as I can. So I hope you enjoy this lightsaber. I'm going to be shipping it out today. So enjoy it, and may the Force be with you.